Knock knock, it's Knuckles! And here we are in Hilltop Zone, in the second part of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Let's Play. And as for Hilltop Zone, well, you're gonna want to watch out for those guys, unlike I did, because they will hurt you. But you know, a really funny thing is that if you actually stand in the middle of these, it actually launches you higher. Which is weird, because that's not how it works in real life, but that's how it works in the game. So there you go, there's a little trick in case you didn't know that. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Hilltop Zone. It kind of looks almost like a recolor of Emerald Hill, aside from the background. I mean, if you look at like these wall textures here, they just look like the Emerald Hill textures, but blue. Also, these things that I'm on right now, these little, I forget what they're called, that go down. This is another reason why you don't want Tails with you, because Tails will jump on them before you got on them, and then it'll just go and you can't get back on it. You have to like do a well-timed spin dash jump and hopefully make it across. So screw you, Tails, for crying out loud, man. Also, that was really cool a second ago. Just running right over the lava, spin dashing under the door at the last second with the invincibility. That's one of my favorite parts of this level. Well, it's my favorite part of this level, one of my favorite parts of the game, so I like doing that a lot. Makes you feel like a freaking boss. Hell yeah. This part is also cool. Look, so you gotta just roll during the loop and you'll smash through those chunks of earth at the bottom at the end of the loop. I always got stuck at that part as a kid because I couldn't tell what I was supposed to do there. I didn't realize I was supposed to like roll during the middle of the loop, but that's what you do. These guys have a sad life because they can only move in one direction. They can never turn around, those Orbinauts. Much easier to deal with than they were in Labyrinth Zone, though, because they are not always placed under tight ceilings and next to air bubbles. You know what's not a fun section, though, is this part. You're just waiting for this ground to slowly rise up so that you can move on to the next section. As you can see, Sonic is not having a good time here. Come on, let's freaking go already! Jeez! I got a juice! Nobody says that anymore, do they? That was like back in the 90s. People said, it's time to juice, when they were about to go somewhere. And Sonic used to say that in the cartoon all the time. He'd say, time to juice, and that's no good. That's what he'd say. There were actually several Sonic cartoons back in the 90s. There was the one I was just talking about was The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a very lighthearted, cartoony one, and then, I mean, they're both cartoony because they're cartoons. But then there was also the very serious the very serious Sad AM cartoon, which was just called Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic the Hedgehog Sad AM. Had its lighthearted moments, of course, but that one was a bit darker. Had Eggman turning animals into robots, and they couldn't be turned back. And here we are at Mystic Cave Zone. This is a pretty unique level. You don't see a lot of cave levels in video games. So this one's always pretty neat for me. It also has a nice color palette with the purple and green. You don't see that much either. But there is a very annoying part in this zone. And I'm pretty sure I avoided in this playthrough by taking the right pathway, the higher pathway, but if during Act 2, if you take the wrong pathway, you'll end up coming to this part where there's like a vine that you're supposed to grab onto that's right over top of a big pit of spikes. And if you miss the vine, you'll fall all the way down into this pit. It's way too low for you to jump out of. And you'll just be... If you're regular Sonic, you'll just die. You know, you'll get hit, you'll lose all your rings, and then you'll get hit again and die. If you're Super Sonic, it's even worse. I don't think I've told you guys about Super Sonic yet, so for those of you who don't know, Super Sonic is... Well, there's basically these Chaos Emeralds. There's 7 of them, and you get them from the special stages in the game. I'm not doing the special stages in this game because, on account of the fact that I hate them. If you like the special stages in this game, good on you. More power to you, but I don't. They're some of my least favorite in the series. They're just really hard. And you're expected to have a whole crap ton of rings and not hit these bombs. It's even worse if you have Tails with you, because Tails will hit the bombs. Freaking Tails. And so those are really annoying, and so I won't be doing them. But if you do decide to do them, you'll get the 7 Chaos Emeralds if you beat them. And then when you get 50 rings and jump, you'll turn into the invincible, super fast Super Sonic. Which is totally not stolen from Super Saiyans and Dragon Ball Z or anything like that, you know. So us here at Sega, we would never rip off another series, you know. But alas, and I don't know what happened there with the frame rate. It just, I think I paused the game for a second, and that's kind of what happened with the recording software. It just zipped ahead. But basically, if you fall into this pit as Super Sonic, and you've got like, say, 100 rings or whatever, you're stuck there until those rings run out. Because he's invincible. He slowly runs out of rings every second. Like, every second a ring goes away. But you don't lose your rings when you get hit. So if Super Sonic falls into this pit, you're stuck there until your rings run out, which can take so long. And if you're not using save states or something, then you're gonna have a bad time, because you're not gonna want to reset the game, because then you'll lose all your progress. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't know what was going on with me when I tried to do this boss fight. I just keep getting hit over and over again. I don't know, maybe Sonic was drunk that day. Come on, Sonic, you gotta stop freaking drinking all that Rolling Rock. You're not the angry video game nerd. I mean, you are a video game character, but you're not a video game reviewing, white shirt wearing, Rolling Rock drinking nerd, so you gotta get off that alcoholic diet, man. Come on. And he was freaking gambling earlier too, wasn't he, in Casino Night Zone? Sonic's got some bad habits. Here we are in what would be my least favorite zone in the game if it weren't for the next zone we're going through. This is Oil Ocean Zone. It's quite annoying. There's lots of spikes and fire and stuff everywhere. You gotta wait for these things. If you jump at them too quickly, they'll launch their thing up and you'll hit the fire, and then you'll probably hit the spike right after. There's little fans that'll push you back. And also, the level design is... I feel like it's a bit more linear in this level than it is in the rest of the game. Like, there are multiple paths, but it's hard to get between them, if that makes sense, because there's, like, oil slides you'll go down and stuff. And you can't get back up them. So it's a bit of a restrictive level. I don't like it much. I know there's some people that do. Actually, I don't know that. I don't know why I said that. It's a bit of a restrictive level, though, so I don't like it much. There's also these little chutes. These are pretty fun the first time you play the game. It's a nice spectacle, but after you've already played it before, it gets a little annoying. But there are some fun glitches though, like that. I always love finding those. And yeah, there's those oil slides I was talking about. Act 1's not too bad. Act 2's a little bit more annoying. They somehow managed to make this stage even worse in Mania. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself now talking about Sonic Mania, but it seems like every other level in Sonic Mania, aside from this one and Hydro City Zone, I feel like is better than the original version. But yeah, this one, not so much. They somehow managed to make this zone even worse. And yeah, here's one of those fans I was talking about. You just gotta wait for it to stop before you can move on. Because that's fun, isn't it? And the boss at the end of the Mania version, oh man. That boss is tough. Like, I'm good at it now, but I died so many times to that on my first playthrough. Anyway, like I said, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves talking about Mania, so let's get back to Sonic the Hedgehog freaking 2. Dudes. Yeah. Now get ready for this. This is actually pretty cool. So there's this little glitch. You go in here, you get hit by the spike, you fall into the chute, and suddenly you are able to run super fast and jump super high. So I always do this every time I play the game because it's so... Every time I get to this level, I always try to activate this glitch. Because it's just so much fun. I mean, look at me go. Whee! Just running through the level. It only lasts a certain amount of time. And eventually it just runs out and you'll be back to normal. It's almost like being supersonic without the invincibility. So yeah, I'm just having a good time. Running super fast, jumping super high, everything's great. Oh my... Seahorse! I decided to leave that death in. Normally I'd cut the deaths out, but I just thought that was so funny. I'm just like minding my own business, I go up the thing and suddenly, boom, Seahorse comes down from the top of the screen out of nowhere and kills me instantly. So I just had to leave that one in. Yeah, like I said, there aren't a whole... There's a lot of kind of just forcing you down into a certain direction. You can kind of jump back up those, but there's not really much of a point because it takes so long. Unlike the Mania fight, this fight is an absolute pushover once you know what to do. You just jump right on him. The only tough part is this. You gotta like make sure you don't get hit by this guy. He'll shoot in 3 different paths. The middle, the top, and then the floor. And you have to kind of anticipate which one he's gonna do. You can tell which one he's gonna do based on how high he is. But yeah, all you do is you just jump on Eggman. I don't know how this didn't burn the entire place down, considering he just blew up inside of oil. But whatever, I'm gonna let it slide, Sega. I'm gonna let it slide. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed that part. I'm headed back to Angel Island to protect the Master Emerald, but I will see you guys next week with part 3. Have a great week.